The moment we've all been waiting for is finally here. We have two teams remaining. It's Denmark and it's the United Kingdom, but there can only be one winner. The grand finals of the Hearthstone Global Games starts now. Lorinda, I'm going to ask you to call it. The United Kingdom or Denmark? Which team is going to win?
Oh, you're going to ask me to make this choice. So United Kingdom, we just talked about Dead Draw and Boar Control. Denmark, Fury Hunter, ex-DreamHack winner from last year. Freddie B has been in the Danish team in Season 1 already and never quite had that breakout win, a bit like Dead Draw, very much deserving. I'm wearing the hat. I'm going to have to support Ball Control in this one. I picked Japan, I was wrong, so going to pick the United Kingdom, otherwise I might get in trouble.
All right, well, we're going to find out very soon. Similarly, but as you and Darren were pointing out earlier, there is the Priest in Denmark's lineup, and Freddie is going to be bringing that first up against the Galacon Shaman from Boar Control, the nerfed deck of this expansion so far. Before it was nerfed, this is the powerhouse. This is the deck, in theory, that everyone has to watch.
Indeed, but as Derek was saying, bringing the Priest, just bringing the known quantity that is still just a good deck. The addition of Holy Ripple, or the re-addition of Holy Ripple. You've seen many rogue boards with 1 health minions. That'll be a big part of why that's in there. But Priest is a very good bring to this tournament. And a big deal trying to take down the Shaman for a game. If any wins against Shaman are like, unless you do it with your Holy Wrath Paladin, they're just free wins. Because you're expecting the Shaman to go through at some point.
Mulligan is a little awkward for Freddie B. He's not really... the key cards don't change with this Priest deck, right? It's the Novice Engineers, what am I talking about? The Northshire Clerics and the Light Wardens and the Tolvirs and the cards like that for the killer start is what they are looking for. Freddie did find the Tolvir. Maybe that will be enough. On the other side of things, Ball Control doesn't really have anything going on until he can start getting those invokes happening on turn 4. Maybe Freddie B can find himself a lead before we get to that point.
Yeah, he's going to have a decision to make with this Divine Spirit early on, maybe on the Acolyte, maybe on something else. UK playing 1 Earth Shock, so do you want to tiptoe around that, or are you not bothered? That might be a decision that could swing the entire game. But first of all, just getting stuff on board, obviously, like you do with the Priest, and hoping your Acolyte will draw you something sooner rather than later, or you'll just pick up a Northshire Cleric, maybe. Ball Control, on the other hand, incredibly slow start, but that's why Shaman plays cards like Novice Engineer.
Yep.
There aren't enough good cards to put, or enough crazy cards to put in the deck. So you just top it out with card draw to get to all that nonsense as quickly as you possibly can.
Ball Control doesn't have much going on just yet, but very soon he is going to be able to pop off. In the meantime, Freddie B also doesn't have that much going on. It's looking like his best play this turn is just going to be a heal up and a smack to the face, or maybe even a trade.
Yeah, depends whether he wants to develop the minion or not. Probably don't, but you're in a bit of a hurry against Shaman. You probably don't. You don't want to really give him a chance to get their Mogu going on turn 4. But you're stuck. You're doing that anyway, whatever you do. Yeah, just going to keep the board under control. Try to defend that Acolyte being part of this. There's not many decks actually in Hearthstone history where you don't want to draw your card draw early. But I think this Shaman deck is one of them because that is only in there as filler.
Right. Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
Usually like Freeze Mage or something, you're drawing your cards while you're waiting for your mana to build up.
But in this deck, because all of the other cards are just so good, they are the cards that you want to draw. With the Light Warden picked up for Freddie B, though, we may be onto the beginnings of something here. Freddie B can put the Light Warden down, just heal up the injured Tolvir to make it a 2/6. Ball Control is going to struggle to do that 2/6 this turn, and that Light Warden can start to get bigger and bigger thanks to the extra arms.
Yeah, and you need it to be 6 because of the Maniacs that could be in hand and are, as it happens. Just because the way that Invoke works, 4 is just not enough. And you haven't got any other beefy minions. The only other option is just to splodge an extra arms on this and get the immediate damage. But I agree with you. I think Light Warden heal makes the most sense here.
In the light's name.
And there's definitely the option just to not play the Acolyte at all and try and get it done with these 2 minions. Especially if you can pick up an Inner Fire or something along the way.
Those Maniacs are really not looking like they're quite good enough at the moment. Maniac into Mutate, I guess, is kind of the best the Ball Control's got. He'd love to be able to play Mogu with Mutate, but he does have a second Mutate for that. So, we'll see, the 2-2 becomes a 5-4. Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
Freddie B's reaction to that.
Freddie was relatively unhappy. That's.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed watching Freddie this. I've enjoyed watching Freddie for years, but in this tournament, he's been just the right balance of nervous and concentrated and emotive. He has been a joy to watch, and Fury Hunter very much the same as well, actually. Making sure they enjoy it while simultaneously caring a lot. Yeah, you talk about the Mutate, like, it's very easy to get distracted by the Mogus in this deck because of the last meta where evolving Mogus and Hares was just insane. But the Mutate just works on nearly any card in the deck. It's absolutely nutty.
Powered Shield is a really healthy pickup there. Fits the curve nicely alongside the Acolyte, all the extra arms. Northshire Cleric drawn. I mean, the pieces really are all falling into place. It's just a question as to whether or not they can survive before Ball Control gets the huge power plays. And with Mogu looking like it's going to be available next turn, that is going to be very soon.
Yeah, they're just going to make sure their things don't die in the meantime.
Divine Spirit? Beaming Psychic
It is very, very tempting because they have just that one Earth Shock. And the best way to play around a one-of in a deck is to hope they don't have it. Yeah, there's the hope. there's Freddy Prey. If he has emotes when he streams, I think we need a Freddy Prey.
Dragon's Pack is not good enough. Shield of Galakrond can be played alongside Mogu this turn with Mutate, so Ball Control can do an incredibly powerful turn of his own, but I don't think that he can deal with that injured Tolvir.
No, and even though you know that they probably haven't got Inner Fire right now, they'd have hit you for 14 or something, you know that the way they're setting this up, it must be card draw on the way. So you've got to deal with it. I mean, Dragon's Pack's pretty good. I guess it's not, because it's not... It's a hard turn. Nothing really adds up to 5 very well at all.
Freddy's looking really excited. Look at the reactions from Freddy. Oh, the Tyrion!
No. Oh my, that went from excited to, oh my goodness, really fast.
I love the idea that Ball Control is using his very best poker face here because they can see each other, and Freddy is just emoting like a maniac.
Yeah, Freddy doesn't care. Read my face if you want more. It's a massive deal for Freddy. He's been in the scene for a million years. He's always been doing well. He's always been one of the people behind the scenes. Places like Norderwind, he was a big deal there, helping out and so on, as well as doing well in his own right. He's done well in qualifiers and that sort of thing. But he's never had the recognition he deserves as one of the top players. So winning this, I feel, would be a really big step for Freddy. In the same way as Dead Draw in a way, but Dead Draw's kind of got that fame already. So of the 4 players in the final, I think all of them are sort of recognised, and Freddy should be, and just hasn't quite got that recognition. Being from Denmark is not a smart move. You've been behind Crane, the Hoy twins. Yeah, Penny, you've had a lot of people to contend with over those years. Whereas being from the UK, you get known quite quickly, because if you know roughly how a Hearthstone card works, you get to the top of the tree.
Yeah. And you get to cast.
yeah, and you have to cast.
All right, Freddy really not happy about this. He knows that 9 out of 10 times ball control gets rid of this Injitove now, just as the Nephicet Ritualist gets drawn that would have healed it back up to full health. A single invoke is all that it takes for ball control to completely flip this game on its head.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is just put Freddy in the middle of the board and just cast Freddy, and then we'll know what's happening in the game. Yeah, and there, as you described, everything starts to filter away. Circle of Healing would be... Yeah, he was hoping for Circle of Healing there with the double Blade Master in hand, I think. Anything other than this, I guess. There's probably something even better, actually, that I'm just not spotting. But you've got to draw some cards. The one hope here is the Shaman is down to 3 cards, which, against normal decks, you might consider to be a really good spot. But here, not so much. And you've got to trade your Cleric away. What a horrible feeling.
But now, I mean, look at this. 0 mana Electra into Dragon's Pack, upgraded. Freddy shrugs, he shakes his head. The game is all but over. I don't know if there's any single draw that would bring Freddy back into this. If there was a world in which he could go Pyro Circle with Cleric, then maybe the card draw would be enough to bring it back. But as he has none of those 3 cards, I think this is just over, Lorinda.
Yeah, and I didn't catch the bans, but one of the big deals here is this now weakens your Paladin deck if you're from Denmark.
Right.
Your Paladin deck that's sort of supposed to try and match up against the Shaman.
Gotcha.
If the Shaman has escaped, then the Paladin has a lot more work to do.
Worth noting, this is a rematch. The UK and Denmark did play each other in yesterday's. I believe it was the first match of the day. It was one of the initial matches yesterday. And Denmark did win that series.
Yeah, and that came down to... I'm just trying to find my notes so I don't say something even more stupid than I've been known to. Yeah, it came down to the Paladin Mirror at the end, which Denmark took quite easily, but which is the card that makes the Mirror difficult for Denmark, which is in United Kingdom's deck, didn't appear until very, very late. So if that comes up again, that could be a difference maker. Maybe the United Kingdom could snatch it this time. But a 1-0 lead, Shaman out the way, Paladin still on the board for Denmark now, is going to make life very tough for them.
Yes, absolutely. So as we can see there, it was the Shaman and the Rogue band. United Kingdom's Rogue, Denmark's Shaman. So yeah, that is how it shakes out. United Kingdom have been shielding Warrior throughout this event. I wonder why they've got such confidence in that deck.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Warrior was a different sort of Warrior. It was the Dragon Warrior for Norway. But that was kind of the deck that let them down in the Norwegian team. And yet, United Kingdom, again, it is slightly different. It's a more traditional control Warrior, but still pretty much the same pieces, and they're very comfortable with it.
All right, Lorinda, Freddy B's hand. Can we please grab Possessi and show him this is the hand that you need when you play Death Rattle Rogue?
Yeah,
I'm not sure how much of that game that Derek and myself cast that you saw, but 2 games in that series, not a single Apothecary was drawn.
Well, there won't be any Warbringers drawn in this one because Denmark very nearly, I keep saying they hit the post, very nearly built the modern version of this deck, but they have Mechanical Whelps and not Warbringers. So although they have the full-on nonsense, and Mechanical Whelp is nonsense enough, they don't have the absolute craziness going on. They don't have the boar silliness going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's as Derek and me were saying before, where the Anubiseth version, you've sort of got most of the typical road decks, and you replace it with cards like Boar, Deckhand, Scalehide, etc. The advantage to running this deck is, although the power explosion of 7/7s isn't quite as good as buffing the entire hand, you still get to play a mostly regular tempo rogue here, with Evil Miscreants, with Eviscerates, with Saps, with Edwin, with all of that good stuff.
Yeah, I had the discussion with Derek a little bit about the difference between the 2 decks, and while I agree with him that this version's probably more solid now, I don't agree. I think that Possessi's version is more good for this tournament because nobody knew it was coming. So they weren't prepared to deal with the onslaught at all. But this deck is fine. It's got them to the finals. It's definitely one of the better rogue decks in this tournament. I think every single rogue deck was different. Everybody knew roughly what they were doing. And this hand shows that Denmark knew what sort of tech was about. They understood the Wisp interaction, for instance, which obviously goes very well with Faceless as well as the Apothecary. They took out Cairn, which was prevalent in this deck at the time. Went for the more consistent 7/7s, and looking like it's going to put them into a very good spot here against the Warrior.
So Dedra's job, I suppose, is just to survive for as long as possible, but that's so hard against these incredibly powerful Death Rattle minions. Looking back to historical Control Warrior matchups, it was always Death Rattle decks that they struggled with. Looking at, for example, classic Control Warrior versus classic mid-range Hunter. It was really Savannah high mains that the Warriors struggled to deal with consistently.
Yeah, clearing up 2 boards in one turn has never been a thing that Warrior is good at. It relies on killing off one board, like with Brawl or something, but more importantly after that, 1 card at a time, sort of on a 1-for-1 basis, and then just draws more cards. So anything that can make anything after it dies, let alone a 7/7, is just a massive deal. Because you don't want to kill the 2/5. And that will allow Denmark to go wide and say, well, you've got to kill this board, you've got to use your wide methods of killing it, and when it's dead, there's going to be a 7/7 left over that you cannot get rid of.
It's so crazy to me that Wisp has made its way into the meta. I know that there were times when we've seen Wisp throughout the last year, especially with Myra's Unstable Element being a nice little, I guess, sort of combo with it. But it's so strange that Wisp has found a comfortable spot now.
I mean, it just goes to show how good Naught Mana is as a thing. Mm-hmm. Like, the Wisp in this deck would be fine as a Naught 1.
Yep.
It's simply an enabler for the Faceless and for the Apothecary. And it shows that whenever there is a card that costs 0 that actually does something, like Preparation, for instance, it is just dangerous and it is worth looking at very carefully.
So many options.
Plenty of options here, but you really want to, in my opinion at least, protect the Apothecary. So you've got a 5/4 and a 2/5, and say your AoE is useless here.
Yep, agreed. And I mean, Faceless Corruptor looks so good here. You get the free kill on the Omega Devastator, and yeah, nice body, like you said. Freddy B is able to curve into the Mechanical Whelp if he wanted to next turn, although even I'm not even sure if playing 2 is necessary.
Yeah, he's got the other Apothecary if he wants it.
That's true.
Yeah, and I was wondering about the second one as well. Do you want to play that alongside after the first board is cleared? Then you play the Mechanical Whelp, and you sort of put the United Kingdom in the same mess they're in now, which is how do you deal with everything?
That's where the complication comes from. The Apothecary might be better to play sooner than the Whelp, because if the second Whelp is drawn, obviously the Apothecary becomes useless. But as long as you do get the Death Rattle from the second Apothecary, then you end up with 4 7/7s at some point throughout the game. And that's without taking into account any Necreum cards.
Yep. Looking very good for them. And this is something that United Kingdom did not want to do. Even though it looks great, sap is pretty annoying. The fact they have double sap is something they will now have to calculate. Can we get to the finish line? Because after both your saps have gone, bouncing back Armadillos can backfire a little bit by buffing up your opponent's hand. But yeah, it's the perfect activator for the Apothecary. Still keeping back the dagger. Not going to be able to reload it next turn because they're playing Mechanical Whelp.
Gonna just keep on buffing that Tomb Warden.
Yeah, can they get to 8 mana? If they can, then the game will turn on its head to some degree. Double buff Tomb Warden is pretty scary.
Yes. Counterpoint, it is only 2 minions. Which sounds ridiculous to say. But Freddy B has the ability to have a lot of big minions, especially now Necreon Blade's been drawn as well.
What if they're tempted to Leroy this down?
I think I just like Necreon Blade and trade in the Faceless Corruptor.
Sure. Only thing I don't like about that is the rest of your turn is a little bit... Well, you've got Eviscerate, actually.
Eviscerate, Pharaoh Cat as well. Oh, so you just Blade Eviscerate. Yeah, that's better, you're right.
The thing is, you want the Eviscerate to go over the top in case there's too many taunts. That's why it's a decision that needs making.
It's worth it, though, right? Saving back on the Leroy, saving the Faceless Corruptor. And yeah, you can even consider playing Pharaoh Cat. I don't see why not, honestly. Unless Freddy B is saving it as a combo activator, which seems to be the case. But there you go, there's a 7-7 on the board now. This board is becoming nightmare fuel.
Yeah, good luck dealing with that lot as a warrior. And they had to go for it, I think, Denmark, because they do know that this game can turn around on turn 8, so you've got to try and get the turn 7 win. So Sap and Leroy together next turn, if any of this is even dealt with,
I wonder.
is something you are relying to get through. Like how Born Dead Draw just consider everything. I've noticed this all the way through this last section of HGG. You can see them hovering over every card. Even Harrison was considered there briefly.
I wonder.
Just to make sure they don't miss anything. Obviously, Harrison, you die on board, but they're always just checking that there's not something they are missing out on, I think.
I must choose.
So every chance here that they just end up with 2 7/7s on board.
And this was like the middle ground. Bad in both cases, because for Dead Draw, there's still not a way for him to clear the board after this. Freddy B just has 11 damage ready to go right now.
Yep. Can dump down another mechanical whelp if he wants. Leroy not quite good enough, only 17 damage.
So many options.
So it looks like they're going to play the whelp, and if you're going to play the whelp, you might as well play the cat first.
If a card is destroyed in the hand, the Death Rattle doesn't go off, right?
No, I don't think so. I think it does go off if a card is bounced back to a full hand, though, I seem to remember.
Yes, it does. No, the reason I ask is because of Flick. Because we've only ever really experienced cards being burned in the hand before, but Flick's wording is gets destroyed. Which is why I was like, oh,
okay.
Could that possibly be I'm almost certain that's not how it works, but I figured it was worth bringing up.
Yeah, always worth checking. Just don't check with me, because I never know anything.
I mean, it doesn't work like that, but...
It's only my job. So they can sap one of these away, assuming that they're going to play the buffed minion, but I think you get through there. Got to do 20.
Well, sap deals with 1. Yeah, exactly. So 20. I count 19.
It is 19 now.
But Flick just deals with it. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Moving on.
One apiece.
Absolutely. Little fist pump there from Freddy B, who claims his first win of the series, tying things up. Ready to into this. This is going to be a good series.
It's not going to be a 3-0. I'm pretty sure of that.
On that note, we are going to go to a very short break because we want to continue the series as quickly as possible. United Kingdom and Denmark, the score is 1-1. Only one of these teams will be your winner for HGG 2018. 2018? 2019. We'll find out in just a few moments. Your HGG finalists, Denmark and the United Kingdom, are currently sitting 1-1. Everything to play for now, Lorinda. And again, these teams have played once before. They played yesterday. Denmark did come out on top just about, but still, honestly, this series looks like it could go either way.
Yeah, and the traditional way to determine who is favoured is to look at the decks that are different and match them against each other. And that's the quick version. And the priest against the warrior is believed to be favoured in that. So United Kingdom probably in a slightly better spot right now. But now we have what is actually quite an interesting mirror because of the UK's build. It's the Paladin mirror. They lost it the first time around with their Thekal, but could be tight second time around because it was the bottom card of their deck. If they get the Thekal early, it makes it very hard for Denmark to win the game because they have to use their multiple versions of Chevalier to get extra damage in apart from the two Holy Wraths because United Kingdom can get so much health.
Deaddraw clearly feeling the pressure of this game, already on full ball control head grip mode.
Yeah, I'm not even sure at this point who is the most experienced out of him and ball control in massive games.
Really?
Like, instinctively, you just go ball control, seat story winner, multiple good performances in DreamHacks and stuff, Grandmasters every single week. But Deadraw's played 2 top 8s in Master Tours recently.
Yeah.
Under current settings, and Boar, exaggerating slightly, but gets to play from the comfort of his own home, streaming. So Deaddraw may have had actually more high-pressure situations in recent times than Boar.
Wow. Yep, hadn't thought of it that way, but definitely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's deliberately slightly sort of devil's advocate-y, but there's a case for Deaddraw being pretty experienced now. So one of the things that you'll see at the start of this game is A, both sides trying to do a little bit of damage, but B, dumping their hand, trying to cycle through as quickly as possible, while simultaneously just getting rid of cards in hand. We will see Denmark have the freedom, because of no Safavar in the United Kingdom's deck, to just burn some of their removal. United Kingdom have to be a little bit more careful, because they might face down a board of 4 Chevaliers at some point. They need to be able to deal with that.
It's always so. Whenever I'm casting this matchup, I just find myself staring blankly at both of the hands, because the resource management that has to go into this matchup is so difficult.
Yeah, especially when there is that extra twist that is, even though it's one card different, it is very different styles. But yeah, not filling your hand up too much whilst filling your hand up as much as you can all at once has always been a bit of a head scratcher. We used to see it in Freeze Mage mirrors and old style Control Warrior mirrors as well. And like you say, you just end up looking at the screen going, okay, well, you can draw some cards and play some cards. The trouble is, these players know which ones to play and draw. We just stare at the screen.
Let me think.
Yep. As the players, slowly but surely, both try to whittle down their opponent's health, but also, and more importantly, get through their own deck as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You can't whittle down the health much early on with the direct damage because there's enough healing for players to just heal it back up again. So even your damage spells have to be moderated a little bit.
The light bends to my will.
We saw this in the UK-Hong Kong match where Hong Kong were able to play their Kangor out of their hand, but because the United Kingdom are playing Thekal, it's a bit different for them. They want to keep Kangor in their hand so they can make use of that room to heal once High Priest Thekal is played. And that's where the mirroring stops to some degree. And if Thekal's not drawn early, like in the first time these two teams met, it wasn't, it means that cards start to stick in the United Kingdom's hand.
Right. And gaining that extra health is a huge advantage. assuming that the United Kingdom do get to pull that off early.
Yes, very much so. It is a huge advantage, but again, they're likely to get behind on card draw, though that's not what is happening at the moment, because they have more things they have to keep in hand. They have to be aware of Sathravar just ruining the board and spewing 7/5s everywhere, which is something that Denmark don't have to be scared of. They can just dump cards like Consecration.
Let me think.
And again, we've got the resource management issue here. Prismatic Lens, for example, you want to play as early as possible, but the hand is full. So Fury Hunter has to consider playing Novice Engineer. Dem would have to play something else after. Maybe Novice Engineer, Coin, Hammer of Wrath played together on the same turn. No, you're just going to Hammer of Wrath, Elven Archer. Okay, save that Novice Engineer. You know what, Lorinda? I sometimes question why Elven Archer is still even in the deck, because we've very rarely actually seen it played for its original intended purpose in the deck, which was that one extra bit of damage for the combo.
Yeah, it did get played. I mean, there's Subdue now as well, but it did get played a bit with Shrink Ray in the Giants meta. So when mages were playing Giants on turn 4 every game, as a way of finishing them off so they couldn't get Conjurer's Calling. That was another use for the Archer. Adding up to 30 is a big deal, but there just isn't a better card to put in that spot. I don't think anyone thinks it's amazing, but it does a bit of everything. It can draw you a card from Acolyte of Pain as well. It just does enough that there's no point firing the Archer right now.
I hope you like my invention.
Seemingly infinite supply of absolute rubbish from Denmark.
Though they are getting there, aren't they? 21 health down to Dead Draw. Dead Draw does have double flash of light, obviously, to get back up to 29 if you were to play them both right now. But I think there's some real discussion going on between Dead Draw and Ball Control right now.
Yeah. And one question will be, when do they use the timeouts? If they look like they're going to win the game, they don't want to give Denmark the 1 in 4, 1 in 5, that sort of number, which obviously isn't yet, to just luck out and win the game with Hail Mary, shot to nothing. And although that's a few turns away, they need to prepare for that now. And again, the flash of lights, how long do you hold them for? You really want them to go with your Thekal, but that just hasn't been forthcoming in most of their games.
So awkward that he can't deal with Kangor right now. As Shivala drawn by Fury Hunter. It's never really clear whether that's actually a good thing or not. I guess it's good that it can't be burned. Sathrova. Oh, 9 mana Holy Wrath. That is really awkward. It now cannot be played the same turn as a Baleful Banker.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal.
Which means the other Holy Wrath is vital for Fury Hunter.
Yeah, and it also means that Thekal is an even bigger deal for the United Kingdom. But they don't know it yet. Because they can get out of range significantly. I still feel like the United Kingdom build should be favoured in this head-to-head, but we have a sample size of about 3. Never change, chat. You're great. All the highlighted messages are great. Only the 1 true silver in the deck making this decision a little more complicated, but
Only 1 true silver in each of the decks, and quite a few of the decks that we've seen over this weekend. That seems to be the common tech now, or common build. Single true silver.
Yeah, it's just there for that little bit of damage usually. The actual removal, you tend to find if the removal aspect of the true silver comes into play, barring say South Sea Captains that we saw earlier, it really doesn't matter. You're dying to whatever's on the board if you're having to start hitting things one at a time in modern Hearthstone.
Oh, Holy Wrath number 1 coming in. 5 damage. Second Holy Wrath drawn. Still no Shivala. It's particularly interesting when Shivala hasn't been drawn yet.
Yeah. They've got pretty much everything though. So they can afford to have an accident. They want to have an accident, obviously. I think Freddie B's heart might give out if something went wrong at this point. Because apart from week 1 where they roped out, which I've brought up a lot because they've been so good since, Denmark have been pretty flawless in their play since then. There were a couple of turns week 1, and it was only a couple of turns where they were still talking about plays when the rope was burning, and they sorted that out very, very fast. Fury Hunter was saying they just basically, whoever's in the driver's seat makes the decision if it looks like there's no time left.
Move quickly.
An obvious conclusion, but involves a lot of trust, obviously. But between players this standard, that's easy enough. What have I done?
Their draw still down to 23 health. Zephyrus drawn and active, ready to go. It's also another draw that's not Shivala. I mean, True Silver again would get Fury Hunter down to that 25. It's Tedra's surprisingly close to just outright winning the game. I mean, if you want to go for it, it's a 1 in 7 right now.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the United Kingdom also have the option of playing the True Silver, not just to get Denmark down in health, but to boost their own health back to 27 over the course of 2 turns. I know they have the Flash of Light to do that with. They've still got Kangor as well, so actually they can get out of range now if they wanted. They can even True Silver, Kangor, and Time Out or something like that. But it makes it so much harder. Their whole strategy revolves around this Thekal coming up early. And for the second time against Denmark, it just hasn't shown its face.
Unfortunate. But still, given that they have taken some damage, they will get some healing off of this Crystal Smith Kangor. There you go, back up to 27 health now. Dead draw. Fury Hunter back down to 25. Both players' health are just yo-yoing above and below that 25 health break point.
Yeah, and forgetting the alternate win condition, we're now into who wins the timeout chicken competition. If you go first, then you're the first one to be exposed at the end of the game of chicken, because timeout is answered with timeout. And then you get stuck in this silly game of everyone has to time out everything.
It's time to test your mettle.
And Fury Hunter going to very easily get back up to full health with the double Shivala. However,
Right.
he's leaving 1 attack on the board and 4 attack with the weapon. So a Holy Wrath would just be lethal now, but Shivala drawn by Dead Draw. So if he wants to go for it, he has to go Shivala, Banker, Holy Wrath, and unfortunately he doesn't have the mana because Shivala still costs 4.
Would only cost 1 if they played a timeout.
It would. It wouldn't allow him to play the combo this turn though still.
No.
The other Banker. Alright, Consecration, fine.
Yeah, that works.
Of course, I'm neglecting to mention that the breakpoint doesn't matter at all if Zephyrus is in the hand and active, because Zephyrus plus Banker plus Holy Wrath costs 7 mana and deals 25 damage. There's a True Silver on board, that's 29 damage. Then Zephyrus, still with 3 mana remaining, so Zephyrus, which costs 2, then 1 mana remaining. You know, Soulfire, Moonfire, Elven Archer, anything Zephyrus gives finds lethal then. So Dead Draw and Ball Control are so close to just winning the game. But so is Fury Hunter.
But no timeout played here from the United Kingdom, which might tempt Denmark into going for it, otherwise they're going to get timeout to death, most likely.
It's timeout or a 1 in 4 to win the game right now. What do you fancy?
I think you might have to go for the 1 in 4 because you expect
wait.
next turn United Kingdom to time out.
He can raise the odds, can't he? Yeah, just banker first. Oh, he's bankering Sathrova. Oh, this is so interesting. What the heck? Ooze to prevent the lethal from dead draw.
Nice.
Now it's not possible from him anymore.
Whoa.
What a play!
I must move quickly.
Yeah, that's pretty nutty.
Fury Hunter seeming to be trying to just outlast Deaddraw at this point.
Yeah, spotting that getting the Swamp Ooze was available there was superb. High Priest is going to be the last card again. Doesn't matter now. Well, it kind of matters because if you can get High Priest and then you start playing Chevalier, you get out of range in a hurry.
Yep.
But yeah.
High Priest into timeout, into a later on Chevalier. Yeah.
Reminder, there is no Sathravar in the United Kingdom deck. I realise I've said it several times, but people are joining to see the outcome all the time, so...
Yep. And that is now vital, because, and unfortunate, because imagine Thekal into timeout, into next turn, Shivala, Sathrova, just to heal up to, well, almost 60 health.
Yeah, that was great from Fury Hunter to realise that Swamp Ooze was an option to win this game.
Dead
What were they
draw.
going for?
No, Baron Geddon is no good. It deals damage to you.
Were they after Tyrion? Or what were they after? They weren't after this lot of rubbish anyway.
Definitely we're not after Baron Geddon.
I mean, it didn't even offer Twisting Nether, which is unusual. Now they've had to banker their Zephyrus to try and get something else.
I guess Baron Geddon just looks better to Zephyrus than Twisting Nether does, because it clears the board and puts a body down. But Zephyrus doesn't.
Yeah.
Zephyrus doesn't realize that Deaddraw can't afford to take damage right now. And now again, Fury Hunter, if he wants it, he has a chance to go for lethal. I think it's a 50-50. Oh no, sorry, it'd be a 2 and 5 if he went Shivala, Banker, Holy Wrath. But it's just not necessary, is it? Shivala into Sathrova is fine here. Might not even be necessary.
Is it?
Let me think.
Yeah, it is.
Well, he can't die. As long as he clears everything and has full health, he can't die.
Sure.
I must move quickly. It's time to test your metal.
Yep.
It's time to test your metal.
Oh, how silly is all this? Going for that Swamp Ooze was a highlight of this whole tournament for me, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It is quite silly. But Fury Hunter thinking so hard, but staying at full health. He has the board control. Deaddraw, the way I see it, doesn't have much choice but to play timeout here. I guess he could mind control a Shivala and kill the other one, but then there's still Sathrova to deal with.
How much does a mind-controlled one cost?
Let me
What?
No, it's okay. You can, because you might control it, and then I'm just trying to cheat here with
They all
nothing
cost zero.
weird happens. They still cost 0. Nothing
They
weird
definitely
happens.
all they definitely all cost 0.
Yeah. Just one of those moments where I suddenly thought, well, maybe it costs 25 when it swaps sides, but yeah,
Let
Nah.
me think.
it doesn't. You're right. It's me just having one of those moments that you have at my age. It's called today.
I must move quickly.
I don't want to know about those moments for at least another 80 years.
Yeah, you'll get there,
I'm almost out
and
of
you remember the
cards.
wise old words of Lorinda saying, "Don't bother." Okay,
Uh-oh.
quality and all this stuff going on.
Alright, Shivala drawn, so there's one Shivala in the deck, I think. From the first Sathrova. This
Yeah,
is the
I
one
think
from
so.
the second Sathrova. So again, bankering a Shivala would be a 2 in 5 again for lethal. He's gonna go ahead and play the Holy Wrath. He gets excited. That's a hit. That's gonna be lethal. Fury Hunter And Freddie B, Team Denmark get their second win of this series. They are one win away from becoming the Hearthstone Global Games champions. And all they have to do is win with Combo Priest.
And if you said that to somebody 6 months ago, they'd have said, of course people win with Combo Priest. That's what Combo Priest does. Once again, though, the Paladin Mirror, the bottom card, Thekal, again for the United Kingdom. Exactly the same as in the group stages for United Kingdom. And like you say now, just this Priest needing a win. And it's got 2 good bites at the cherry. Once against Control Warrior, which the Warrior's probably favoured. People keep telling me. I'm still not sure. But again, it's clever people, and I'm not clever, so we go with that. And the Paladin, Priest can definitely get it done there too. You always want to have those 2 bites at the cherry, obviously. Ball control back on the green hat. He's even got the mistletoe on.
Ah.
Cube's eyeing him up.
So that's my colour.
Very much so. Okay, moving swiftly back to the game before we end up too far down the rabbit hole.
Okay. All
That's
right.
a North-Star Cleric.
And a Blade Master and a
yeah.
Circle.
That looks pretty good for Denmark. And another Blade Master. Absolutely everything going way of Denmark here. Who haven't been that successful in previous global games. I mentioned earlier with the likes of Crane and the Hoys. Very tough nation to get into the team for, let alone to win it. But they are on the brink right now.
They are indeed. Cleric comes down. There shouldn't be a way to deal with that on turn 2.
Just
unless Zephyrus into silence, but Zephyrus isn't going to happen.
You just play it.
Yeah.
You just have to play it and hope that there's no buff for the Cleric. If they have Power Word Shield come off the top here or something like that, the game would just about end on the spot.
Looks like ball control going to be rewarded for the Zephyrus without the ability. Coin, Blade Master, Circle is the best Freddie B's got.
Yeah, take the card while it's there. This deck functions like all decks, but even more so for Priests on a huge number of cards being drawn. Just draw what you can.
If he draws Topsy-Turvy, does he use it on his opponent's Zephyrus just to protect the Cleric?
Yeah, oh goodness, yes.
Oh, apologies. No, he doesn't run it. He does not run Topsy-Turvy.
And then you don't play it at all because you get disqualified.
No. Yeah, there are 2 in a fire in this deck. No Topsy-Turvy.
Okay. You're still a bit scared of this 4/7. It can come in for 14 damage next turn. You just have to ignore that. And yeah, Freddie sort of shaking his head because even though they had the nut draw themselves pretty much, Ball Controls had pretty much the only hand that could have dealt with it. Bonsami giving quite a lot of plan and hope, though, for Denmark here. They have the situation where if they can just fiddle about until turn 7, they're guaranteed their second Cleric.
It's gotten so awkward for Freddie B.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought it from this opening hand.
No, but that shows the sheer power of Northstrike Cleric.
Yeah.
When you lose the Cleric, it's a disaster.
No way to buff it. And I mean, if Boar hadn't had a Pyromancer or Zephyrus, it was pretty much just over. Yeah, there's other ways of dealing with it, but the Cleric was going to do so much work in those first 2 or 3 turns. Still a formidable board here, though, for Denmark. And not really convincing ways for United Kingdom to deal with the onslaught that's about to begin. Early Divine Spirit, a lot less tempting against Paladin. Way too many Shrink Ray effects for you to want to play it early. And very irritatingly for Denmark, they really need to take care of most of the stuff on the board here. Can't let the Blood Mage buff out consecrations. Can afford to go fairly wide with a Bonsami in hand though.
Must consider.
So-
Yes, he's got the restock there. It's just the further into this game we get where Freddy B isn't dealing insane amounts of damage, the more likely ball control is to just clear everything. I wonder if Freddy B has to play the Divine Spirit and hope this 4-7 sticks. I don't know how often it actually works out.
Consider.
But yeah, denying card draw is a good start. Deny card draw, make this 4-7 as big as possible, don't let it die. I don't know.
Yeah, this makes sense. Just keeping what you've got alive. Next turn, you've got the Blade Master, Ritualist if you want it. All very difficult though. But also very difficult from the United Kingdom point of view. They could just lose this very, very quickly to Divine Spirit things. And as it stands, they don't have any way of dealing with anything. And I'm wondering if they're considering just Holy Wrathing the 4-7 here. Maybe it has to be next turn when they've got the Elven Archer.
I must move quickly.
Because there's lots of 4s in the deck. Or enough 4s to make it worth it.
Let me think.
No, they're doing it now. And
5
they do get the
damage.
5.
Wow, that is exactly what ball control needed. And Freddy B shakes his head, not happy to see that one bit, and you can't blame him.
He's not happy, but if they think about it and settle down, he will realise the fact your 4-7's just been Holy Wrath means you can play another one right now, which is what he's doing, because there are no answers in the deck for the United Kingdom.
Unfortunately, as we can see, there is a Shrink Ray ready to go. And now
Yeah.
it's tough for ball control. What do you do this turn? If you double Flash of Light, are you safe? Do you need to Shrink Ray now and intend to play the Pyromancer and clear everything up next turn? Maybe you Shrink Ray and you use the Elven Archer to deal with the Blade Master.
Yeah, and remember, they can see each other on the call. If Boar saw Freddy's reaction to just losing a 4-7, maybe he's a bit more scared than he should be of what might come next. Just waiting till next turn is the logical play and the sensible play. But there is a possibility, because of Freddy's correct reaction, that Boar could misinterpret that reaction. If that makes any sense at all.
I must move quickly.
Yeah, Boar just going back to basic play. I like this. Going to clear up next turn.
Pain, speak to me.
I think Boar must have heard us talking about his hats earlier, because there was one on the bed, and the other one was obscuring the Seat Story trophy, which is now clearly on view again.
I wonder. Let the pain speak to me.
There'd be some weird time travel shenanigans if that's why he moved everything later.
Agreed.
And again,
So,
a tough question for Freddy B. Do we heal? Do we use it the Divine Spirit? He's holding on to that Divine Spirit with
Yeah.
everything he's got. I mean, at the very least, it can be played with one Sumdy later to make for one final big minion. But board control at the moment has answers, at least to one board.
yeah, and he knows. Freddy knows there's a 5-mana card in hand as well from the first Holy Wrath. So he'll be quite alert to the fact that Shrink Ray is quite a strong possibility there. Wow. Now this one's a little bit more brave.
Oh, maybe he still has to play the Shrink Ray. What are we looking at realistically? 7? Yeah. Just 2 Divine Spirits and an Inner Fire would be lethal. Oh, Ahmet ready for the Bwonsamdi follow-up. Okay, Freddy B still in with a really good shot to win this game and take the HGG crown.
Yeah, that would be a massive moment for Freddie B if he can do that. United Kingdom pretty much obliged to clear up here. So far, Broad's done a very good job of not pulling the trigger and wasting stuff.
I wonder.
Using his health as a resource very well in this game. So the first thing they have to do is analyse, well, we know what cards were drawn here. We know what we've got to cope with to some extent. There's a good chance that Ahmet's one of those cards. For instance, the Divine Spirit that's been held all game could be an Ahmet. A lot of the time there's not really been a chance to bother playing that. As it happens, you'd guess wrong but be right.
Okay. Shivala hits the board, and as a priest, there's nothing Freddy can do about that.
Yeah, it's really amusing how you can just lay it out there. That's
Yeah, I mean,
the big
typically
weakness of Priest.
Exactly. Typically, you would never play Shivala and just leave it on the board without shuffling it into the deck. But against the priest, board control, he knows his opponent's deck list. He knows there is nothing, no way that Freddy B can deal with this. And so there it is. And now he's like, okay, Freddy, go ahead. I'm going to shuffle it next turn. But for now, it's going to attack you. Attack whatever you play next turn. You play your Ahmet. My Shivala is going to attack into it. I've got Shrink Ray. I've got Pyromancer.
Yeah, Boar is fully concentrating.
I see a dark.
He hasn't done this by accident.
Hey, I got you, friend. Hey,
Now here comes the big board, but next turn
the light.
they do have the mana to shuffle back Shivala and Shrink Ray Pyroman to the entire board. Amongst other options, but getting rid of 11 health minions seems like a pretty big priority right now.
I mean, this is just to clear the board, isn't it? It's just a banker and then a Shrink Ray and then a Pyromancer, and that feels like it's pretty much GG. That's the big power play done with. I guess Freddy does still have double Divine Spirit in the hand, but
Yeah, and Northshire Cleric. And the Psychopomps could get lucky.
okay.
But yeah, I mean, you've broken the back of the main problems at this point, and that's why they're taking their time. It's like, okay, well, we know they're going to almost certainly play the turn you and I are talking about, and then they've just got to work out if there's anything else, and maybe they find something a bit more interesting. So while they're thinking, Boar decides to play the banker so he doesn't mess that up.
Yep.
Yeah, and they do go with the obvious play in the end, but when you've got two people like Boar Control and Dead Draw to draw from the knowledge, definitely worth looking at other options just in case.
I mean, I don't know what happens now, frankly, Lorinda. Yes, there's a Cleric. Yes, there's a Light Warden, but they're small. And if Freddy makes them big, Ball Control and Dead Draw, just deal with it.
Yeah, I think you just dump them on the board and hope there's no more shrink effect. So make your Cleric into a 1/12, or at least a 1/6, and hope it lives. And if it doesn't live, move on to game 5.
All right. It's a 5-7, potentially a 5-14.
Yeah. But if you go with this plan, which is win next turn by drawing in a fire, you've got to play the Light Warden, right?
Why?
Because double Divine Spirit on the Cleric's only 28.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So you need the extra 2 damage on board.
Yep. Makes sense to me. Wow. I guess there's still another powered shield in the deck,
Uh-huh.
but there's a quality plus Pyromancer or Elven Archer will just allow ball control to deal with it. And you know what? That was important. Before that equality was drawn, ball control didn't actually have a current answer to this Northside Cleric.
Right. I mean, there were only 8 cards left in deck, so they had a good chance of getting some sort of answer. But yeah, very much so. And the problem with leaving the cleric is, there were problems with leaving the cleric on smaller health totals. But I think my play would have been to dump the Light Warden on the board and go for lethal next turn if I got lucky.
Let me think.
But Denmark have been very, very precise throughout this tournament.
I must move quickly.
Freddy and Fury Hunter have seemed like a very good combination. Like Boar and Dead Draw, also a good combination for very different reasons. They're both very analytical. They can keep themselves together. But I feel that Freddy and Fury have managed to, despite feeling the pain of the bad plays, they managed to have a pretty much as a laugh as you can have whilst continuing to play your solid Hearthstone.
Oh, there was the powered
there.
shield. There's no inner fire yet.
Yeah, they'd have to have drawn it from the power word shield.
In the light
Yeah,
for
or
me.
from the cleric healing
Yeah.
something. I'm not sure. Let's see if it's the next draw, shall we? Oh, no.
Oof.
Okay. All right. Last final stand for Freddie B. I've got a 5-4.
Yeah.
But alas, the priest is out of resources.
And there's a True Silver just to make sure. I think True Silver hit this and then do whatever you like.
Well, the Light Warden had the last laugh when the True Silver healed ball control and got that extra little 2 attack in.
The light bends to my will.
That's it. Dominate that board.
Reporting for
Yep.
duty.
And there is the inner fire.
Yep.
A little bit too late. Freddie B concedes. We are all the way this series, Lorinda. It's game 5. It's Warrior versus Combo Priest. It's the final game of the Hearthstone Global Games 2019. And Lorinda, you were saying to me a few moments ago, Warrior could be favored here.
Yeah, people seem to believe that Warrior is favoured because it can get over the 50 health fairly easily, and that makes things a lot harder for the Priest. But the way we've seen Priest take it on is to chip away early, keep that armour
Light shall
down,
bring victory.
and then sort of sort it out later. A bit like how the Paladin does it. Sorry, no, I'm talking rubbish. That's how the Paladin does it. The Priest, we just see them kill them on turn 4 sometimes. So, just talk about Paladin there for about 3 minutes because I've seen so much Paladin versus Warrior. Let's start again. I
We've
think
seen
the
a lot
Warrior
of Paladin
is favoured
today,
because
to
it
be
can
fair.
kill things. Yeah. But the Priest with a Cleric can just get under that removal. Let's start this all again. The Priest can get under that removal and just kill the Warrior before turn 5, before the Warrior starts getting its good stuff. Keep the armor at bay so nothing gets shield slammed. Buff things up, and it does get very difficult.
Amusingly, there are no new cards whatsoever in this matchup
On either side,
on either side.
that's amazing. I thought the UK, for what it's worth, I'm going to check this now, were playing... Yeah, they're playing Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, but it won't matter.
That's the Rogue.
Oh, okay, I thought they had that in their head Warrior as well.
Nope.
Somebody did. There we go, I've just completely lost the plot. It is, after
Yes,
all, the
that-
final game of the final. Let's get on with the sensible parts of this.
There was a Dragon Rogue this weekend with Alexstrasza. You're right about that.
And there were some
That's-
Paladin games against Warrior. I was right about that as well, but not now. Let's get on with this final because it's looking like it might be a very quick game if Denmark just decide to go in and make this Cleric a 5-5, for instance, or 7-7.
Yep. Oh, powered shield, beaming psychic into extra
Okay.
arms. Currently, no easy way for Deaddraw to clear this. There's a shield block into shield slam at one point, but that might not even be enough.
Yeah, if you make it a 7-7, you've got to be careful of the mummy coming in for 6 and the one that's on the board from the town crier. However, now you've got extra arms next turn to get it out of range of that play. It's got to be very, very tempting. I think you play the powered shield and see how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to go 7-7 or 1-9 here. I guess 7-7's fine, because as you said, there's no way it can be dealt with this turn. And yeah, do you know what? Denmark agree with you, Lorinda. 7-7 coming in hot.
That's a lot of damage. The other one taking face as well.
Shield blocks. Deaddraw can defend himself for a bit.
Yeah, and if you... They've just got no time. They want to shield block, shield slam. It's turn 3. Remember how summer was with this priest deck? Slight flashbacks happening now. You defend yourself with the 5 armor, but it just gets chewed up. You really want to save for shield slam. But turn 4, you want to be playing that mummy. You're also aware that there's probably another buff in hand, just the way this turn was played.
It's all on this cleric. If Deaddraw and Ball Control can just find a way to take this 7-7 down, they will be in a fantastic spot. But due to the powered shield and the extra arms in hand, it's going to get further and further out of range.
9-9 hit face. What do you do with the 1-2? Do you take it down? Give yourself some injured minions so you can draw a circle next turn? You have another cleric. You wouldn't mind some injured minions.
Do you have to play around Plague of Wrath? No, not yet.
Exactly. Yeah, turn 5. What are you talking about? That's years away.
Oh yeah, double trade and heal one of the 1-2s. I like that. No need to buff up the cleric past 7. It's, you know, shield block, shield slam only deals 5. Restless Mummy only deals 6. Playing very sensibly here. Oh wow, can even trade the 1-2 Circle of Healing for 2 more cards.
Yeah, they're gonna. They're just going nutso here.
Well, now it's less all in. Funnily enough, because there's so many more cards. Psycho Pomp to follow up if one of these clerics gets destroyed.
Yeah, and nothing's died yet. So the thing that dies will have to be this 7-7 in the world where it gets dealt with at all.
Oh,
and it just comes back.
Weapons Project will deal with it. Weapons Project plus Shield Slam is enough damage to get rid of this Northshire cleric.
What now?
Yeah, you still take 7, but it's your price you've got to pay.
It's worth it. Get rid of that 7-7.
You
It's not
lose
gonna
if
hit
you
10
don't.
more times.
The emotions of Freddy here.
Big emotions, but what Freddy does have to be glad about is the fact that he played that circle and got 4 cards drawn last turn. It means that he's still in this. And again, as we were saying, Psycho Pomp is a guaranteed Northshire cleric next turn.
Yeah, things start to get a bit messy if they don't get it done soon, though, because now my joke about Plague of Wrath, are you kidding? It's not kidding so much when you get to turn 6.
Yep.
And with no real big damage bumps in from Denmark now, there's every chance UK will get to turn 6. Okay, at the moment, they don't even have the Plague of Wrath, but they've got other things that can take care of lots of boards. The Mummy, for instance, is looking pretty good. But Psycho Pump should be able to get enough cards for Denmark to have at least one more push. You get the feeling that everything depends on this turn and Denmark's next turn. How Deaddraw and Ball Control set up their defense for maybe surviving. How Freddy B and Fury Hunter go about playing around any nightmares and trying to get over the finishing line. The whole title is going to depend on these next 2 turns.
What now?
No tune can hold me.
All right, they're going with the Mummy option.
No tune can hold me.
Another Psycho Pump is tempting, but Extra Arms is tempting, which means I think you start with the shield.
Yeah, Powered Shield Extra Arms does look really good here. Again, there's only one Inner Fire left on the deck. We pointed out earlier there's no Topsy-Turvy. So only one of those 17 cards on the deck allows Freddy B to match the attack with the health of a minion. But Ahmet picked up is huge.
Yeah, how's Warrior going to deal with that? I'm just going to check if there is Whirlwind. I do not think there is. There is one Whirlwind in the UK deck.
There is, yeah. Yep.
But they don't, as we can see, we know they don't have either card. They don't have Whirlwind or Plague of Wrath, but Denmark don't know that.
Quickly.
Really tough turn for Freddy B here. The
Yeah, we can see
entire Hearthstone Global Games lies on the balance.
If he plays Amit, I think he wins because there's no Brawl, there's no Plague of Wrath, there's nothing going to do anything about it. But it's easy for us to say, but he couldn't see what was going on in that hand. He's just played it and worked with maths that this is the best play, as Whirlwind is picked up. I think over the course of the last 4 weeks, Freddy B has exhausted me.
His emotions have exhausted your emotions?
Yeah, I mean, just going through, I feel like I've lived HGG through the eyes of Freddy B to some degree. Because he just lives every turn. And to be fair, Dead Draw is as animated as Dead Draw has ever been in this tournament. The last couple of games. One of the things that stands him in such good stead on the tour is how calm he is.
Absolutely. It is strange to see him adopting so many of these ball control mannerisms.
It is, it's amusing.
Speak to me.
But they clearly make a very good team.
Mm-hmm. Right, now all Denmark have to do is organise themselves on this turn. They've got so many good choices. Good choices, but no game-winning choices yet. Some of the storm has been weathered. So draw more cards, get more choices. They're just checking there's no punish for healing the Acolyte so they can put the other damage face. Rather than healing up their Amet. In a fire, that's got to be putting things really close.
Oh.
Quickly.
22.
They're just drawing more
Sorry,
cards.
12 damage I think they had. But yeah, I mean, drawing more cards is how you win as Priest. Running out of resources is how you lose. Divine Spirit. Now it's almost just a case of one minion surviving and then the game ends.
Yeah. And we can see from where we are sat that the game is going to end. And Denmark don't know it yet, but they will know it in a moment.
There's no miracle draw from that Harrison. There is no answer to this board with only 2 mana. Dead Draw armors up and braces himself, but now Extra Arms puts Ahmet on 9. Divine Spirit, 18 health, and Inner Fire, 18 damage is exact lethal. The winner of the Hearthstone Global Games 2019 is Denmark. Huge cheer from Freddy B. Himself and Fury Hunter have really done themselves proud this tournament.
Absolutely. Feel sorry for the UK boys, but Freddy B's reaction there shows everything about how much this meant to him. He has won bits and pieces with teams before. He's been around the scene for a long time, but he has never had one of these massive results. And now Freddy B can put himself in with that list of major winners alongside his teammate Fury Hunter, who's already won a tour stop.
you just love to see it, don't you? Freddie's
Yeah.
reaction. I haven't seen anything as pure as that in such a long time. On the flip side of things, dead draw, huge disappointment. Head properly going down in hands. But huge congratulations to our runners-up of the Hearthstone Global Games United Kingdom, and also our other finalists today, Japan and Hong Kong. They've done a fantastic job. But there you go, Denmark are your Hearthstone Global Games champion. Lorinda, it's been a wonderful tournament for the two of us and for Derek to cast. Do you have any last words?
I mean, I'm just so happy for Denmark, but Freddie in particular. That's no diss on Fury Hunter, but he's already won a big one, so it's much easier to feel empathy for Freddie. He's been around this scene for so long, worked so hard. Very glad for him. I think Dead Draw's time will come. The only reason I'm not sort of here, head in hands myself for Dead Draw is, if he's watching, just keep at it. Your time. You are going to win something. You are going to be a Grandmaster. This guy is head and shoulders above nearly all of his peers right now. But Freddie, to see that reaction, to see it come from week one where he made a bit of a rope blunder that nearly cost them, I think it's great to see. I'm genuinely really excited to see that.
I couldn't agree more, Lorinda. Well, we have one final segment left of this year's Hearthstone Global Games, and that will be a live winners interview, which is going to take place in just a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. I'll be having a chat with Freddie B right after this. I am now joined by Freddie B of our winning team, Denmark. Freddie, first and foremost, I want to say the biggest congratulations and just
Thank you.
how
Thank you so
amazing
much.
it was to watch your reaction as you won the game. The pure, genuine excitement. What was going through your head at that
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah, I mean, it's been some very nice weeks playing along with alongside Fury Hunter, and it's just amazing to win it all. Not only for us as players, but also in this country tournament, and when it taking it home to Denmark is amazing, and I'm so happy.
So talk to me a little bit about your relationship with Fury Hunter then, because you said that you've had a really good time working with him.
Yeah. So I've known Fury Hunter for a long time in the game. We actually met at the very first playoffs back in the day. We both attended. We both attended that, and we met there. And since then, we have just been, talking a lot and been to tournaments throughout the world together. And he's a good friend of mine too, not only in the game. So I think we have a very good, good communication. We know each other very well. We know each other's weaknesses and stuff like that. And I think that helped us throughout this whole thing.
I'm sure it did. I mean, we've always said that communication in the Hearthstone Global Games is one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
But if you guys get on well, you got good chemistry, I'm sure that was a big part of your success. I want to ask you, what else you think led to your success? Denmark has been very, very consistent throughout the whole tournament. Have you got any tips for the other players now that you've won?
And now I can give the tips, right? So I think throughout the whole tournament, I'm relatively happy with our plays. I think we made solid plays. We had some slip-ups. You guys talked about it, that in the first week we had some time management issues, but we resolved those, and I think we kind of improved throughout the whole tournament. And then there's playing the game is one thing, and then there's the whole preparing the decks, and also going through the shield and ban phase. And I think we prepared for that phase very well together and talked throughout all the scenarios, what the opponents could do, what they want to shield first, what they want to ban. And I think we almost every time got it like we wanted, got through that phase as we wanted, and
Right.
got in pretty favorable spots.
Yeah, well.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
I guess you go ahead.
preparation then, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the tip would be that I don't know. I think all the other teams also prepare a lot, but put your time in, think through, look at all the matchups, think through what can the opponents do in the shield and ban phase, and try to think of all the scenarios, and maybe you can see if you can do a little mind game or something like that to get ahead.
Absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. It's great to hear you guys worked so hard on it. Lastly, as a big congratulations, is there anything that you or Fury Hunter would like to plug or promote? You guys stream or anything going on like that?
Yeah, so I will say that to any teams out there, Fury Hunter nor I do have a contract for the 2020. So if there's anyone who looks to pick up a Danish duo who's now the Global Games champions, we would be ready, I think. So and then thanks to all the fans, of course. Thanks to all the Danish guys cheering for us in the chat. We saw you, and we really appreciate that. So yeah.
As the winners of the Hearthstone Global Games, you two would both be amazing pickups for any team, I am sure.
Thank you.
That about wraps up the tournament for this year. So I hope everyone watching at home, I hope you've all enjoyed our slightly different take on the Hearthstone Global Games for this year. And we hope to see you for more Hearthstone Global Games soon. But for now, from the entire team at Hearthstone Esports, from Lorinda, from Derek, and from myself, we hope that you've enjoyed the show. We wish you a happy holiday, and we will see you next year for Masters Tour Arlington.